So how does it generally work for you in Pixie? I mean, you now mentioned that many times open source developers do their normal job, whatever it is in science and industry or so, and then on the sidelines they also work on open source. How has that been for you? Like the journey towards open source, let's say, how does it look like right now? How much do you work, let's say, on Pixie topics, and how much do you work on open source world topics that are maybe related or completely unrelated that are interesting for you? If you want to talk a bit about that in either order, Tim and Ruben.
So for me, I started with it when we started to work on package management at the robotics company I mentioned before, where Tim also worked. There we did a project where we moved everything from a super specific opt, pip, and some other tools meshed together into the whole Conda ecosystem. And there we required to update some of the packages. So I think one of my first real contributions was getting packages onto CondaForge, which feels small, but is actually very helpful if you start with that, because you can very easily maintain it yourself while also helping a huge community at the same time. That moved me a little more into helping with these smaller projects around Conda and CondaForge. And actually, really quickly after that, I already started a prefix. So I haven't done a lot of open source in the company I was before, but it's kickstarted there, and I completely moved to the open source work after that. And currently at prefix, I think 99% of my work is in the open. So it's now completely my full-time job. We of course have some of the contributors that don't have a full-time job in open source, but then sometimes get time from their company, like, oh, we really need this feature in this tool. And then they contact us like, hey, I want this feature. I could build it myself. Is it allowed to build in? And with a little call, we often find an agreement, and then they develop that part of the feature in their company's time, which is also always a great experience, because you don't have to do it in your free time, and you can actually open source in your paid hours, which is always
Yeah.
best.
And that's of course something to maybe not so easy to ask, right? As an if you're an employer of your company and you're employee basically of the company, and you maybe have that idea, but